it's good that we have all this technology. It's great. And like the science and the innovation is important. And even the fact that you can go on YouTube and look up how to do almost anything is important. It's just that there isn't a clear definitive line between what's beneficial and educational and what's predatory and harmful. And so it's like, it happens to me all the time, but I could go on YouTube and look up how to change the brake shoes on my truck or something. And if I click on a short of somebody doing it, I automatically go to the next video, and I may be 3 or 4 videos deep before I'm watching some lady throw a pie at somebody, and then pretty soon I'm like, wait, I'm changing my brake. That's the only issue.
And then you're just doom scrolling, and it does something to your mind that just completely takes the humanity away.
Yeah.
It's really horrible. Like that dopamine thing does something to my mind that I hate, which really is the opposite of nature. Like the feeling I remember being out in nature, and not just a hike. A hike is good, but like for prolonged periods of time, several days away from the internet, away from all that.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what that is, but I don't like what X, Twitter are doing. I don't like what Instagram is doing. Whatever that is, I don't think that's good for the soul.
It's emulating things that we need to be healthy humans, but it's just like feeding it visually and audibly to us, but it's not giving us it's giving us the instant gratification of it, but it's not giving us the long-term pleasure or fulfillment of it. Like I said, and the beauty is we're in this weird period in time, like it's a breath of time that we're in where we are able to conceptualize and observe what life was like in that transition point that's got us up till now. And we also have because in order for all this to continue to evolve, like even with AI, like it needs us more than we need it right now still for a very short period of time. But we have access to nearly all the information that the world has theoretically, but we also still have the perception and the memory of what life was like before it. And so this is like a very short window of time, like a breath of time where I think we can find a way to like incorporate this into normal life. But I think like if that breath leaves us, like, I don't know, I think it's I truly believe it is irreversible. And I think and that's just going to be the end of us. And it could take 2 or 3 more generations to get to that point. But like, I think like, why don't we find people that are way smarter than me and look at all the things that trend on social media, like the videos that everybody watches? Like, I don't know what it is, if it's wood splitting and plumbing and blacksmithing and doing something with, like, let's find all the things that people are attracted to online that they obviously are like interested in, and just figure out a way to have them in real life for people to immerse themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a transitionary state, and one of the responsibilities I take very seriously, because I agree with you, is I try to pierce the bubble that is San Francisco, that is the Silicon Valley, that is the people that build these technologies. They often live a bit in a bubble.
Yeah.
That said, the people that criticize tech folks also live in a bubble.
Yeah.
And to sort of, first of all, piercing bubbles in general is good for people to get along, to understand each other. Because people that say all technology is evil, unfortunately, technology, even if that's true, which I don't think it is, it's coming. It's going to be built. And so you have to figure out how to do it in a way that preserves our humanity, that doesn't drag us into this black hole of like just maximizing engagement, maximizing this dopamine thing where instead of reading Dostoevsky, which I should be doing, I'm looking at some girl shaking her ass on Instagram and then feeling horrible about myself 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
That at scale is what seems to be happening. And so like reminding ourselves that this is not the way to steer human civilization to progress, to flourishing.
The problem is I think we're wasting a lot of our bandwidth, like a lot of we only have so many minutes in a day to even use our brains, and our brains can only do but so much in a day anyway. And when we're wasting any of it on just that, it's like I see it in my unprofessional opinion as the world is becoming just a little more, in the last decade or two, as the world becomes a little more dreary and dark and more problems happen and city streets become more littered and jobs are like all these kind of problems that we all argue about all the time, as they become more prevalent, it's like the internet and just the visuals of the internet become so much more immersive, and video games are so much more, everything's so much better here. Everything's improving at lightning speed in technology, and it's degrading in society and in the real world. And somehow there's got to be a way to find a balance there. But right now it seems like as technology becomes more immersive and addictive and interactive, like the way these algorithms like feed us exactly what we want, and there's so much psychology and just so much research that goes into making them as addictive as possible. It's like the real world kind of sucks. Like, cities that were beautiful and thriving are now falling apart, like, and have all kinds of problems that are being unaddressed, and lack of leader. It's like there's got to be some kind of way, but so it's easy for us to feel more and more inclined to escape into the digital realm, because the digital realm is becoming more fun while real life is becoming less fun. And there's got to be some kind of way to balance between the two. I'm with you. I'm not against technology at all. I think evil most certainly existed long before there were computers, like, and in even more treacherous ways. Like now we have the ability to do, like I said, we're in a very temporary state right now in 2025, where we have access, where the general public has access to basically all the information there is, and artificial intelligence, and just immense, and the ability that like a guy can just set a bunch of cameras up and start doing podcasts and have just even just the fact that that your platform could be created is like immensely powerful. It probably never existed in world history up until now. But we also still have, the problem is if we just keep going without being careful about losing the real world aspect of it, is that like at some point we're just going to get so lost and so immersed in this space, we're not even going to know what we're missing out on. All there's going to be is girls on Instagram. Like all there's going to be is that.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it all out. I just did a super long podcast with Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, who created Fortnite. He created Unreal Engine, a lot of interesting video games, like revolutionary video games. So I don't know if you know, but Fortnite is this gigantic video game where people go into an online world and they shoot stuff. It's fun. It's not like Call of Duty, intense, militaristic, like raw, real kind of shooting. It's more fun shooting at each other. But at first I was skeptical, like, is that a good way to hang out with friends? But then I got to do it with people that I'm actually friends with in physical reality.
Yeah.
And you get to hear each other's voice, and you just talk and talk shit about each other together. It's basically a phone call, honestly, with some visuals. Mm-hmm. It's not about the visuals, it's about the phone call, and it just makes it a little more convenient to connect regularly.
Yeah.
But I think you do need to remember that all of that only works if you're consistently returning to physical reality. In this case, like taking the quote unquote guy trip, not the Brokeback Mountain style, but just friends, just friends, a trip out in nature together, like dudes on a hunting trip, or just fishing, or just hanging out in physical reality together. It's really we should not forget the importance of that.
You talked earlier about loneliness. I think that got brought up at some point, but I do think that's that's a problem that's caused a lot of our symptoms, is that we are all like very lonely. Even though we all seem to be so well connected digitally, we are all so lonely. You got to think, Modern Warfare 2 was a big thing. I was supposed to be in class of 2010. So you can think like when I was in whatever grade, 8th grade or whatever, Call of Duty was like the thing. I've certainly, like, trust me, I'm not saying that I'm right in this space of digital immersion with anybody else. Like I've been there and seen it and done, but I've wasted who knows how many hundreds of hours on Modern Warfare 2. And like, I really built some great friendships from it. There's a place for all that stuff. It's just like, we have this innate responsibility to again, it just goes back to talking about our founding fathers and the way this country was created, and the importance and the importance of what it did for the world. And my understanding is that it was the first time ever that people got together and agreed that, like you said, every man was equal because they were created in the image of God. They had unalienable rights that no government could take away from them. And that's really important. Like there won't be Fortnite if we don't worry about that. And honestly, like just the collapsing in our structure with the mental health with our youth and the suicide rates with our blue collar workers and all these kind of things we've touched and talked about, like those are all just things we just need more time together in real life to fix those problems. Those are just things, like I said, I make the joke, but like there's never been one argument there's never been one dispute with my wife that I've been able to figure out how to fix through a text message, or like it takes being in person with people and like having human connection to fix any problem and to heal anything, you know? And so it's difficult. It's like, it's not anybody's fault that we're like that. We're not even able to really get to know each other and understand each other through the internet. Like we almost have to be together in person to even just get each other's point of view and perspectives on things. And, you know,
yeah, fuck the division that the internet creates. Honestly, like the left and the right it's been kind of a nightmare for me just to watch, because I see the very simple reality that we're in it together and that there's a lot more commonality between people. It seems cliche to say, but it's like now that needs to be said more than ever. Because when you look on X, it feels like everybody's divided, but we're not.
Well, and people are always going to think differently too. Like just in our structure and the way we, you know, again, it's like that. It goes back to that Jordan Peterson lecture about, I think in Maps of Meaning, where he talks about people who think more conservatively or more liberally about things. Like it's been applied to politics, but it's based more in psychology than anything. Like some people are going to think more inside the box and some people are going to think more outside the box, but we have to have both in order to have a healthy society. Like,
oh, and also the thing that bothers me, your song Richmond, north of Richmond, a lot of people, so a pretty even split, people on the left and the right in terms of friends of mine, and sadly they've drifted towards the extremes a bit. Those on the left definitely have developed a case of Trump derangement syndrome. Those on the right seem to think that every person on the left is a kind of radical leftist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like hilarious to listen to people talk. It's like everybody's lost their mind, it feels like. But also on top of that, people on the right see Trump as this savior, as this figure who could do no wrong, who's going to restore freedom in America and all, you know, continue. You can do a full list of really positive things. And to me, he's yet another rich man north of Richmond. Biden, Trump, it's all the same thing. Now, some might be able to do more good than others, but ultimately they're in positions of power, and power corrupts. And those in those positions often forget about the everyday person, the working class, and they leave them behind. Ultimately, serve the people that are close to them, and sometimes serve themselves to maintain power, to grow their power. I think the good thing you can say about them is and I could say that about both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, is that they really love their family. I could say that one of the things that I love about both people is that they genuinely love their family. And like, it was always heartwarming to me to see how much Joe Biden loves his family.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, just do anything for his family. And the same is true for Trump. And that just reminds you that they're human beings. And yeah, all that to say is like, we need to see the humanity in each of us. And to some degree, always distrust the people in power.
The power that people have only exists because we allow it, whether willingly or just through our own negligence. But I think that's the important thing is like I said, there's always more of us than there will be of them. There's always more nobodies than there ever will be people at the top. And we just have to figure out what to do with that and how to. And I think this is, like I said, a short window of time to where we can still figure that out, you know?